been doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Can you smell it? Football is in the air. Got a chance to check out the 7-on-7s at Salem today. Very well organized event that a ton of teams, especially here from the YSN perspective, we're taking a part in. And we've got some people to keep an eye on. And we're going to talk about it today on the show. We're also going to kind of dip into why I think 7-on-7 not only is important, but also just absolutely almost in today's day and age necessary for your teams to compete in. And what I have an idea of the possibilities of what YSN can do to be a part of that starting in 2023. But before we get to all of that, we got to talk about what happened on this day in sports history. All right, so on this day in sports history, I'm just going to break it down for you because there's no real good way to put this. As a baseball player, you're always told contact. That's the most important thing, at least when I'm growing up. Now it might be power. But in 1975, on this day, July 21st, 1975, New York Met, the cat, Felix Milan, hits 4 singles in a game. Now, most people, that is an unbelievable game. You're getting on base, you're setting the table, whatever it may be. But on this day in sports history, he gets those 4 singles, goes 4 for 4. Every single one of those singles erased by a guy named Joe Torre, who coincidentally, wearing the Yankees hat, he grounded into 4 consecutive double plays, erasing each and every one of those hits by the cat. So I beg you, or I ask you, I don't beg you. We don't have to beg for this. I ask you, is there any other just absolute letdown in sports as bad as a double play? Like, to me, that is the word. Maybe, and I'm saying it, maybe a dropped pass of a wide open receiver in football. Maybe. Soccer, wide open goal on a beautiful pass and you whiff or you kick it over the goal. I think that's more forgivable. Just from a soccer perspective, I don't see a lot of people just hanging their head when it comes to it. In soccer, you're moving. An empty net maybe in hockey. Basketball, I don't know what the equivalent would be. But for me in baseball, a double play, hitting into a double play is the worst feeling, the biggest letdown in sports. It's the biggest letdown in sports because you're counting on, I mean, especially if it's nobody down or an inning-ending double play with a guy on third, that guy on third is the tying run or go-ahead run, and you bounce into a routine 2-ball. I don't know, folks. I think that's to me, that might be the biggest letdown in all of sports when you bounce into a double play. What say you? Jump into the chat box wherever you are, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Hop on that chat box and tell me, oh, no, Mark, I think you got me here. Watching the third strike go by as the last out. That one stings. That one hurts more as a coach, I think, than a player. Like, I guess the players are more relatable to that because I think everybody kind of, okay, well, and then there's the opportunity to blame the umpire. I'm gonna test you here, Mark, because you bounce into a double play. There's nobody other than you that has to take that heat, especially if it's a routine one. Now, if it's unbelievable, like a line drive to first base, and the guy was stealing, and you double him off. To me, that's part of baseball. It's risk reward. But let me tell you, if it's just an absolute routine double play, perfect hop, shortstop, second base, first base, 6, 4, 3, pow! Nothing worse. And as a hitter, you're just running down the baseline. Most should be, I don't say most will, most should be, all should be, beating feet to make sure that you can replace that runner at first base. If you're lollygagging down to first base, I really think that coach gets the old Polsky, right? The old Ripsky, the old Riptide right out. Anna Marie says, pop out fly ball. I have a hard time with foul balls because, listen, we're taught to, and Mark agrees, so I appreciate that. I'm not always right, but on this one, I just think that watching that third strike go by, especially, I mean, you can look back and you can say that's the umpire. You know, it was a foot outside, or if it was this or that and the other. You're leaving that door open for other people, right? It could be somebody else's issue. A double play, that's on you. That's on you. If it's a routine and you're just trying to roll it over and you hit it over to second base and it's a 4-6-3, that's on you. If it ends the game, ends the inning, oh, gut-wrenching. Gut-wrenching. Foul ball, I will argue, because a foul ball, a lot of times, especially with two-strike hit, a lot of times you're just trying to make contact and foul off and spoil pitches to get something that you can drive. And it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes you get a little bit too much of that baseball and you pop it up. Does it suck? Absolutely. Is it trying? 100%. But I give a little bit more of the free pass for that one. And I could be way off my rocker here. But grounding into a double play, especially an inning-ending double play with a guy in scoring position, to me, there's no excuse. Like that's look for a better pitch. I would rather you strike out looking with a runner at first and third and one away. I would rather you strike out looking than ground into that double play. I could be way off here. I'm picking up scenarios in my head. Obviously, there's difference that, you don't want to strike out looking with 2 outs and, in the bottom of the 9th and you're down by 1. You don't want to do that. You want to give an opportunity. I'd rather you ground out, ground out to second base, ground out to third base, trying than watching it. But in the scenario in my head, I think there's a lot more damage that could be done with a ground out double play. And in this case, 4 of them, Joe Torre, like after 2, I'm probably uppercutting everything. I'm probably just trying to sky one out. But he grounds out for 4 double plays. And that's the history of it. That Milan, the cat, 4-for-4 day. Doesn't even get to second base. Not once. Because Joe Torre, in all his infinite wisdom, and the Mets being the Mets, grounds out 4 times. Double play. 2-ball. Pow. See ya. That is on your day on this day in sports history, July 21st, 75? 75. Yeah. So interesting stuff. Probably one of the better ones we've had in some time here on the Power Hour. So today, okay, first off, we're going to start off with a congratulations. Congratulations to, I believe it's weird not calling the Astro Falcons, Youngstown Blue, I believe, rolls in and wins the Palomino Championship. They will be on their way to Laredo, I believe, next week to compete in the Palomino World Series, trying to defend their title. Coach Pletcher, his whole staff, congratulations to you. I know Joe Roth will be making his second such appearance and look to defend his championship. Had his jersey put into the Hall of Fame last year. Hopefully he keeps this one. I want to see him hold on to this one and see how it goes. And we're rooting for you the entire way. We're trying to get there. We're trying to get down there and make sure it happens. It's just now it's logistics. Now it's finding a sponsor that would want to capture that. So if you know anybody you'd want to see YSN head to Laredo, Texas, a couple of us, Richie, Juliana, 100% would be our first choice to go. And then maybe we can catch somebody else down there as well. Yeehaw, y'all. I love it. Now the question is, Mark, is Joe going to take his hat with him? Because I know I kind of put the pressure on you to buy him the hat last year. So will he be taking his cowboy hat with him and cowboy boots with his cleats down to Texas? I think he's got to show it off a little bit. We'll make sure that we catch some of those guys before they leave for Texas, and then certainly we'll have interviews with them as we are hopefully down in Texas with them, or if not, we'll be like this doing the StreamYard interviews. So good luck to them. Congratulations to them on a phenomenal season. A lot of them competing in the NABF right now as we speak. Go to ysnlive.com/live, cheap plug, and check it all out right meow. We'll have every one of these 62 games on the NABF schedule here on YSN. So if you can't make it out to the games, or you're in a situation where you can't be out in the sun, which I know a lot of people are, that we are expecting significant high weather. I mean, hot weather, I should say. Muggy. Hopefully, and leave it there. Can't leave it there. It's like YSN Deportes down there is what Anna Marie says all the time of why we need to have YSN down there, making sure that the names are correct for as many people from Youngstown as we can get and represent it. So we're going to try and again make that trip down to Texas, hoping, fingers crossed, we can get one of our great sponsors or a new sponsor to step up and say, hey, we want to see this. It's important for us, and it's important for the people of Youngstown to see a championship or possibly defend their world championship. If not, I know they stream it. I think they do a good job. It's a lot easier said than done. Woody. It's a good time, and we're very proud of our area's baseball players. Youngstown Red lost in that championship game last night, so that just tells you all you need to know about the Youngstown way of life in baseball. We have some high caliber baseball players here that are constantly competing against one another all summer in various forms, and the Palomino and the NABF are just a small sample size of what that is. Because remember, the Class B championship has yet to be decided. So we'll keep our eye on that. We'll keep that in our back pocket, but we'll try to win a world championship before we win our Class B championship, which I think is a little bit wild, but I'll take it nonetheless. So congratulations to them. I started the broadcast off today talking about football. And if you know me, you know I want to wait until the absolute final moment, the last moment, to take the appetizer that is to many here in the Valley of Summer League baseball and push it to the side and get the entree of Valley football. And ladies and gentlemen, I took my first bite of it today with the 7-on-7s at Salem. So many teams competing in this. And we got a great look. And I'm talking not just a great look. We got an elite look at some of the best that this Valley is going to have to offer this year. And there was some no-brainers that we all know are coming. And there are some absolute surprises and eye-openers. And we're going to give you a little bit of an inside look to what you have to look forward to here today. And this is just one guy's opinion. This is my opinion. And again, this is football without pads. They wear their helmets, and that's about all the uniform they need. The rest, I think they usually want to be outfitted in the same color. I think they're asked to do that. I know South Range was all in burgundy. Lisbon was all in white. Trying to think. Springfield all had their orange jerseys on. Who else? Salem was there, obviously. Then you had Minerva was also there. Boardman was there. Valley Christian was there. Crestview was there. Indian Creek was there. Toronto was there. I'm missing teams. United as well. So from the teams that we were able to see, that I was able to see, I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of people that are high on the South Range Raiders. And I'm sure somebody just turned, oh, here we go again. YSN and South Range. Stop. Just hold on. I'm going to tell you something. There was no Billy Skirpak today. And I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. The South Range Raiders are pretty doggone good. And they were pretty doggone good without Billy today. Billy the Kid, not in attendance. He was finishing out his commitments to the baseball side of things. I think he had a baseball tournament. Very good baseball player. Very good football player. Very good athlete overall. But let me tell you something about Dan Yeagley's South Range Raiders. They are not afraid to compete in any realm. You show them, I mean, they'll show up in a parking lot and they will go. And they showed up and showed out again today. I believe, and I left before it was all said and done, didn't get a chance to sit down with Ron John and talk over the numbers, but from the scuttlebutt that I was hearing on the sidelines, they graded out as the best team there. They graded out as the best, if not one of the best teams in attendance today. And again, there's some pretty doggone good teams that were in attendance at this Salem 7-on-7. So why am I sitting here telling you about South Range and telling you, well, you better be on the lookout? Because here's the thing. South Range, I mean, a lot of those teams, but South Range above all, they ball out. And they don't care who they go up against. They don't care what division you are. They don't care. They've turned into that guy who just shows up on I'll relate it to adult basketball here, right? This guy just shows up and he's got his calf socks on. He might not look the part necessarily. He doesn't care because when you pass him the ball, the dude is lights out from beyond the arc and he can take it down in the post and he will make you look silly. He'll break your ankles and he looks like he's getting ready to go mow the lawn after it. South Range does not care how they look. They're not into the look good, feel good, play good. You know what they're into? Step up, our best against your best. And if our best goes down, next man up, and we'll see what happens. Because we still believe in that guy. That's South Range. That's been South Range. As long as Dan Yeagley has a hand in it, I'm betting that will always be South Range. And even without their elite, and I'm going to say elite quarterback in Billy Skirpak, they graded out as one of the top teams in the 7-on-7. Look out. Because one of the biggest things I'm going to tell you about South Range is they are physical. And if they can beat you in a skills drill and they can't touch you, they can't beat you up and wear you down, that South Range team could be one of the best even without Dylan Dominguez, even without some of the players that they lost in this last year. They could be very good. The question is going to be to me at least, the question is going to be their offensive line. And we had Chris Colucci in here, and he said, listen, we lost some dudes, but we got some dudes. South Range is the team to look out for. Be ready. I know that's like saying that the sky is blue here at YSN. I understand that there might be a little bit of, okay, YSN is hitched to that wagon. But if you're saying that, tell me when we've been wrong. Tell me when we've been wrong. We told you South Range is a team to look out for every season for the past 5 seasons. Show me when we've been wrong. And if you can show me that, if you can present that evidence, I will bow down. I will say, you know what? You're right. But it doesn't exist. So save yourself some time and just watch South Range. Another team. This is from the No Doy department, right? Springfield. Whoo, baby. Oh, man. There's some of you out there that are sitting there, and I know we've said it on our show multiple times of, you know what? It's going to be great for other teams in the MVAC or other teams on Springfield's schedule to, when they finally graduate Bo Brungard in 2022, teams are finally going to be able to roll up their sleeves and give something back to Springfield. Just wait. I'm telling you, Springfield has had confidence, right, for the last 3-4 years with Bo. And those groups, I should say, not just a group, those groups that came through Springfield. If you're looking for Springfield to just roll over this year and feel sorry about themselves because they lost their state caliber quarterback, the guy that's going to be, probably racing for some of his dad's records at YSU, don't hold your breath. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's 2 guys right now that are vying for playing time behind center and under center in Shondell Gardner and Colton Rourke. Rourke will probably be your main guy. Rourke will probably be your QB1. But don't be surprised when you see Shondell Gardner lined up in different roles. He'll be lined up in different spots on the field. He might find himself behind center. He might find himself a lot of times in the slot. He might line up in the backfield. You might have Rourke and Shondell in the backfield, and you've got to guess who's going to get the ball. And if there's anybody in this area who loves that more than Sean Guerrero, show me. Because Sean has made an absolute living off of these trick plays, off of knowing a little bit more, playing 2 downs ahead of you. And it's been impressive. And the resume reflects that. And let's not forget that Sean was a pretty doggone good player himself. Probably could still ball a little bit. But keep your mind open when it comes to Springfield. And when I say keep it open, don't think that the big bad wolf or the big bad tiger in this case has not starved himself a little bit for August 18th and moving forward 9 weeks after that. Because don't forget, Springfield now is Division 7. Uh-oh. And there's a lot of teams and a lot of prominent teams that are in Division 7 that saw that happen, and gotta buckle that seatbelt a little bit tighter, that chin strap just a little bit tighter, because those guys that were so dominant, and I mean dominant, in Division 6 moved down. It's going to be interesting. Colton Rourke is going to be a guy you are going to see on YSN. This kid is an athlete. Is he Bo Brungard? Nope. Doesn't have to be. He's Colton Rourke. And I think that's the difference. is that he knows he doesn't have to be Bo Brungard. There's not going to be another Bo Brungard. It's not going to happen. Bo is Bo. I'm excited to watch him play on Saturdays. But I am super excited to watch Colton play on Friday nights, on Thursday nights to start the season against South Range. Those two teams, I don't want to see a bloodbath because I don't think that's the right terminology. But there's no love lost between Springfield and South Range. Remember how many people in the COVID year would have paid good money, and I mean buku bucks, to watch those two teams play. I can't wait to be on hand for that. We're going to be live at primetime Thursday night there. Those two teams, I'm telling you, will be there when it's all said and done. They will be two of the teams that I believe will last longest in the playoff runs this year. And you can clip this and move it down the line and say, I was wrong 6 months from now, 5 months from now, whatever it is. And you can tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. I'll eat it. But as of right now, July 21st, 2022, I think those two teams will be among the last teams standing in our valley. That's just how that's my 2 cents. I'm going to go with it. You'll see me on 21 saying it. You'll see me on different podcasts, I'm sure, saying exactly that those two teams are going to be the last two standing, or among the last two standing in our valley, because I really believe that this is going to be a big year of playoffs around here. There's going to be some that'll say, oh, we don't have a chance of bringing home a state championship. I don't know if it's because I'm a fan of these programs, if I listen to the coaches too much, if I believe in the kids too much, but I believe this year we're going to have a state champion. I do. And I think it could be Springfield. And you look at what I just said about South Range with no Kirtland. Who's there to stop them? A team that arguably could be better than they were last year, which was the best team they've had since we've been on the air at YSN. This will be season 6 of football on YSN. And every South Range team has been good. And if this is the best team, arguably, I'll give you that, and there's no Kirtland to stand in front of them, I know coaches don't want to hear that. Coach Yeagley's probably cringing, and he wouldn't curse my name, but he would probably say, oh, DJ, oh my goodness. It's reality. It could happen. The path is there. Now, there's a long way to go between now and there, and there's multiple goals that both of these teams have, but I'm telling you, those are teams to watch. Here's another team to watch that you might not be looking for because they did graduate a lot last year. They graduated their record-breaking quarterback, a young man who's now an entrepreneur. And if your kid's a quarterback growing up, you probably want to give this guy a call. Anthony Cusick, Crestview, state guy. He's giving out quarterback lessons. Free plug for you, Tone. Crestview. Crestview is going to be very interesting to watch this year. Coach Cusick, we've been doing this a long time. We've been doing this for 6 years. And there's nobody more focused this year for many reasons, closing in on 200 wins. A new quarterback at the helm, not his son, and a quarterback that I think can be very good. Very, very good. Kirkland Miller is going to be good. Confidence is not as high as it is in basketball, and I think that's okay. I think there's a little bit of butterflies to go along with it. Let's face it. Anthony Cusick left some big shoes to fill, right? But there's some returners. There's some guys. There's some dudes that are out there. And in my opinion, Crestview's just young enough and just moldable enough that they can make some noise. And the nice thing about high school football, coaches will always tell you how great it is to have leaders on their team. Senior leadership's important, right? Every single year, you talk about the senior leaders. To me, while I believe that's the truth, I think high school is one of the most impressionable jobs that, especially in football, that a coach can have, especially in this area. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about some of these other teams. But when you look at leaders and Paul Cusick, Paul is a no-nonsense approach when you're on the field. When you're between the lines, when you're on the gridiron, Paul Cusick is a no-nonsense kind of guy. He is a guy that it's very, I don't want to say military, but he knows what works. He knows what's going to get the job done. He knows what's going to get his team in a position to be victorious. I mean, I told you, almost 200 victories in 23 years. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. When you look at what he has to deal with this year, he's got some seniors. I mean, he's got a backfield. Unbelievable backfield. Rockland's off the charts good out of the backfield. But as good as he was at pounding the ball down people's throats and doing that multiple threat attack that Crestview not necessarily has always been known for, because Crestview always has shoved the ball down your throat on offense. It's always been about the running attack. The last few years, they've changed it to an aerial attack, and they moved it back this year a little bit, or last year. I guess they were making that progression to a little bit more balanced. And I expect it to be a little bit more like that as well this year with Rockland, and you got a first-year quarterback in Kirkland Miller. First-year quarterback at the helm, I should say. He's been a quarterback and an athlete for a long time. Just watch him on the basketball court. But this guy, watching him today, and I know it was a small sample size, this is a guy that has good decision-making skills. And in a quarterback, that's everything. That is everything. If you're going to throw some picks. You're going to make some bad decisions. But if you have a good football IQ and you look at the way this young man plays basketball, Miller is going to be legit because he understands and he somehow calculates it in his head before it even happens, or he delivers the football, that this is a high risk, high reward. This is a high risk, low reward, or otherwise. And he made a very, very good team, and we'll get to them in a second, look okay. And that's not, I mean, when you can make a very good team, a very good defense look okay, you've done your job as a quarterback. Now, he's got to get a little bit better with the footwork. He's got to get a little bit more confident as he is when he plays basketball. But those are things that can be done between now and week one. Those are things that can be done between week one and week two. Now, they certainly have their hands full with a Salem squad that returns a lot in week one. But I think that Kirkland Miller is the kind of guy that he's going to show up. He's going to be the kind of guy that even if he's having a game that's not so good, or not the kind of game that he felt like he could have, not his best game, which I don't think there's a whole lot of those this year, to be honest with you, he's the kind of guy that's going to pick up his teammates and be happy for his teammates because they're putting the ball in the end zone, because they're making plays on defense, because his boys up front are blocking their tails off for 48 minutes. He's a leader. He's a leader, but he's being led by a leader in Paul Cusick, a guy who is adamant, going all the way back, all 23 years, about his quarterbacks, because that, like, Paul Cusick is the quarterback whisperer. He is. And anybody will tell you that. Paul was an athlete in his day. Multi-sport athlete. Could play multiple sports at a very, very high level. And that's the expectation that he has for his guys, and especially the ones under center. So I'm excited to see Crestview. I think they're going to be a very good team, a team that's underrated, that's under the radar for most teams, especially in the MVAC. And I think they can do some damage. And I think they will do some damage this year. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be left scratching their helmets wondering what just happened. What happened? Oh, and by the way, and this is a low importance note for most of you. For me, it's big. Crestview's back to the black helmets. The identity of the Crestview Rebels are back. The black helmets with the gold CR. And they're the matte black helmets. They are looking sharp. Sharp. And if I saw things right, I saw preview. It looks like they might have black tops, gold bottoms, and the black hats. Looking like somebody that I really like. Looking like, well, we'll just let you check it out. But it looks good. I'm happy to see the black helmets back in Crestview. A staple, tradition for as long as I can remember. So kudos. The silver ones were cool. Not going to, I don't know if that was by choice or by those were the only helmets you could get at that time because there was a helmet shortage. But either way, it was cool for like a limited time only. I like the black helmets. And I don't know if they'll bring the silvers out throughout the season and alternate them, which would be cool. But I like the black helmets. I like the black helmets a lot. They're back. They're back. I'm excited for Crestview's season. Take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you more about some of these teams that I got a chance to catch a glimpse of today in the 7-on-7s. One of them you are not going to want to miss because I'm telling you, this team could be dangerous. All that and more on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hey, welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. We're talking 7-on-7s, and we're talking about why they're so important. Before I give you just a glimpse of what we're going to have in store, I think we're working on it. I want to put the final touches on a couple other things before we do this. But I think we're going to have a 7-on-7 league next year. I think we're going to have a 7-on-7 league for football players. Duh, right? But I think what we're going to try to do is mix it up a little bit. Not necessarily have them from one school one whatever, I'd love to have our sponsors get involved in this, and not for any more dollars, but like you have team, we just saw WRS. So we would have the WRS team. We would have, the Joe Dickey Electric team, things of that nature. We get involved. Our sponsors are all over it. We get the jerseys printed out, whatever they may be, whatever they look like. And then we get these teams and we have a draft. And some of the coaches at YSN could be the guys that are doing the draft. And the big thing is like, I just want more exposure for these kids during the summer. Now, I realize a lot of them play baseball or other sports, AAU, things of that nature. But I think that a 7-on-7 league here locally would be huge. And we've kind of got it figured out from a standpoint of we'd have it in 4 different sites. And we would broadcast the games as well. But the 4 different sites, one would be in Trumbull, one would be in Mahoning, one would be in Columbiana, and one would be, I forget what the other one was. Maybe we had 3 sites, but I would have 4 sites. That way we have 4 teams, let's say, would go and would have slots. So you're essentially, we don't want 2 teams playing at once. We want 1 team playing or 1 game at a time. We don't want 2 games at a time like we saw today necessarily, but we would have them in the different spots and we'd be able to take, video of it, broadcast it, because I think there's the same way with these showcases that are during the summer, all of that. I think there's an ability for college coaches, for high school coaches to see their kids in a light that they've never seen them before, see that they're, especially the skill players, the actual ability. Now, one of the other things we're talking about, and we had a chance to talk to some of the coaches today, was incorporating even more players during these games. We want kickers. Yes, I said it. We want kickers to be a part of this in some form or fashion. We also want linemen to be a part of it in some form or fashion. We're working on that. But what we're really more now than ever, especially today after seeing what 7-on-7s look like, as big as football is here, there's an opportunity for even more exposure and more people to appreciate football in the summer, especially the early summer, right? Heading in so they can still do all their stuff with their teams and that stuff. There's an ability for us to host a 7-on-7 short season campaign here on the network for the local kids. So if you have any ideas for that, we'd love to hear from you. We're always trying to get the feedback of what it should look like, how it should feel, and ultimately how we get more eyes on our kids than anywhere else in the country. We want our kids to have the advantage every time they walk into a recruiter's office, every time they have someone calling them, and that's in every sport, not just football. But this one is something that all the coaches seem kind of amped up about. So I would love to get it going here for our guys and gals in the Valley. So we're going to shift gears back, right, to teams that are impressive that you need to be watching out for, especially in the next month. Because this month, ladies and gentlemen, we are less than a month away from high school football. We are less than a month away from high school football kicking off. We're a little over a month from high school volleyball. What would you say? Serving away, I guess. And soccer as well, kicking off in the Valley, as well as cross country and all those fall sports. We are turning the bend. You can almost hear the rooster crow at the Canfield Fair. So teams that I want you to keep an eye on. Here's a team that I really, really want you to keep an eye on, because this is a team that we talked up a lot last year. And I think if you talk to their coaching staff, they will tell you that they were happy with the performance, but disappointed that their run ended so quickly. And that is Valley Christian. Valley Christian, when you talk about guys like Andy Hake and the leadership that they have, Clegg, and everybody that they have on their staff, my mind went blank, so I apologize. They are unbelievable. They got to the field and they were they had coaches coming over saying, where did you get that man? And they're all, I mean, the thing that drives me nuts is people will sit here and everybody knows I like Andy. Andy and I are friends. He's one of my go-to guys. He is a guy that will be in the foxhole with his people, with his guys, 10 times out of 10. Not even question it. Like, before you can ask, will you jump in with, he's in. Like, he's first dude out of the plane. People giving him grief because of Valley, like all these players, -1. And he was being very candid with me. All these guys -1 have been at Valley Christian. This isn't a recruitment position. This is Andy inspiring young men who don't necessarily have as much as other people in the Valley. This is male role model leadership at its finest. And yeah, they coach a little bit different. And yeah, they talk to their guys a little bit different. But these kids, if you watch how much respect they have for that coaching staff, they come from a different world. They come from a different place. It's not the place that we're used to, right? The majority of us are used to is showing up to practice and having a regimen. These young, we talked about with Cheney, we talked about it with East. Valley Christian's in the same boat. These kids have real world problems that you turn on the news and you hope. We hope that never happens to us. These kids have those issues. And not every young man on that team doesn't have a father or doesn't have both parents. That's not the way it is. But most of these kids have some issues that they're fighting, that they're battling, more than just football. Football is an outlet for them. It's not a necessity, it's an outlet. And they're trying, these men of leadership are trying to help these young men channel themselves, be better through the game of football, through sports. Dolph Carroll, one of my favorite guys, giving these young men and young ladies a chance, an opportunity at a very good school to do special things. And what pisses me off is people looking down at guys like Andy Hake, who's doing what he can for his guys. He'll admit, and he has on our show, he made a mistake. All right, let's move past it, right? And people might not like Andy because of his political stances or whatever it may be, because he's outgoing. I love the guy because he's passionate and he wants to help every kid, not just the kids with the blue helmets on. He wants to help kids have their passion for football, passion for life. And he wishes the best for every single kid. I cannot wait to watch Valley Christian. They have a surprise at quarterback. They've got their big boys coming back. Senior leadership is at its finest. Jontrell Mixon, remember that name. Remember that name. Tight end. And also, he plays multiple sports. He's a basketball player as well. Played in our All-Star game. He grew about 3 inches over the summer, and his arms grew about 4 inches. He's looking like Hulk Hogan with the 24-inch pythons. My guy is huge. He's a grown man. Trust me when I say this. When you see Valley Christian get off the bus and Jontrell's the first one off, you better make sure that your kids have a second set of pants because there's going to be some soiling going on. He's a big dude. And you know what's scary about Valley Christian is they're not just size. In fact, they're not even that big outside of Jontrell. And that's not a knock on them. But boy, golly, let me tell you about their speed. They are fast. So all the big boys in the EOAC are going to have to get fast because, you know, the old adage, speed kills. And that's why I'm so excited for the EOAC matchups, because we're typically accustomed to rock versus rock, big country boys versus big country boys. And we're going to see speed against power in the EOAC this year. You're going to see guys from big dudes. We saw Litonia's got some horses this year. They got some boys. And you're going to see, you're going to see that. You're going to see United. And here's a breaking news. United's offensive line, defense, huge. It's all anybody was talking about at these 7-on-7s is United look great. But you know the scary part? They left their horses at home. They left the big boys. The, what are they called? Oh, the Budweiser people like that. Yeah, I'm not saying they drink. The whatever they're called. You're yelling it at me. I can hear it. I'm sorry. They are Clydesdales. There it is. Thank you. They left their Clydesdales at home. United's a big team. Skill-wise, they're getting there. And I'll bet you Coach Ogilvy, if I know him, he's going to have him there. He's going to have him ready. They were showing it off a little bit today, playing against South Range, another team that's not going to back down from anybody. They're going to be there. They'll be there. The days of Keaton Baker and Brutus Ogilvy, they might be in yesteryear, but let me tell you, they got some dudes. Don't count them out just yet. Columbiana's going to be in that mix too. They weren't there, but I'm telling you, Columbiana's going to surprise some teams. And then we get to Salem. Anytime you lose a Division I caliber receiver like Blaze Exline, the expectations are that team is going to be dust in the wind. They are toast. Let me tell you about Salem. Double J. Jackson Johnson at QB. The American Missile himself. I cannot wait. If you just go back. Go to the YSN archives. Download the West Branch versus Salem game. And enjoy. Drew DeShields versus Jackson Johnson. And it was an absolute shootout. And it's not going to be any different this year. Those two, this is a quarterback-heavy year. Wait until you see all the quarterback play. This is going to be an absolute, again, shootout for who's going to be the player of the year on multiple levels, on multiple media outlets. There's going to be arguments. There's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be huge arguments for every single one of these players. But I'm telling you, Jackson Johnson's going to be in that conversation. Jackson Johnson is a one-man wrecking crew. Does he have a supporting cast? He absolutely does. But he is so good. And he's worked so hard. You can tell the loss to West Branch stings deep. Not only for Jackson, but for Dad. And Dad probably at the dinner table doesn't let any meal go without wondering what is going to be and what is going to become of his son's, his youngest boy, senior year. And I'm excited. I'm excited for Jackson. Love the kid. He's worked really hard. And you can tell. He's grown. If you thought he was out of this world good before, he might put down his shoulder pads a time or two this year. And don't be surprised when he bowls people over like he's at, he's going for 300 in the lanes. Jackson has a chip on his shoulder and he's willing to drop it. But he can also go over the top for 300, 400 yards a game. He might be a guy that runs for 1,000 and throws for 4. He's that kind of guy. He and Drew are going to have some fun this year. I'm excited so much for this season. Like I told you, I try to keep it as far away from me as possible until week 1. I try. So the amount of anxiety football season gives me as an owner of the business is beyond belief. And if you've ever had a conversation, if you've ever been with me on a Friday night, you understand. But that does not curtail the excitement. There is a ton of excitement that I have for this sport, for this valley. I think it's the most beautiful time of year for our area to be showcased, the talent. And I'm not just talking football, I'm talking volleyball, because I think we got some great volleyball teams as well. And I can't wait. I was on my way home from the 7-on-7s, hearing Anthony and Ty talk about the volleyball preview that we're going to be doing. Cannot wait. And don't like, we're going to start sharing our friends over at 21s, their football previews, but we do things way different than normal everyday media. That's not a knock on them. We just have always done things a little bit different. So it's probably not going to be packages. It's probably not going to be things like that and the norm. It's going to be the interviews. It's going to be, hey, let's talk about this. We're going to bring on announcers that are going to talk about these teams on a regular basis. Our coverage of the fall is going to be amped up like we've never had it before. We're teaming up with different entities to let them be the go-to for particular sports. So don't be surprised when you see other people talking on YSN about soccer, about volleyball, about football. And of course, we will continue to relish our relationship with Channel 21 WFMJ, which we absolutely love. We can't thank them enough. I thank my lucky stars. This could be our spark by Joe Dickey. I thank our lucky stars every day. For someone like a big brother to have confidence in little brother gave us a boost like never before. And we have taken risks. We have gone out on limbs. We have failed, but we've also succeeded. And this fall is going to be no different. And now that I still got baseball to announce tomorrow and Saturday and next week. But man, I am jacked up for football. I am home. I have arrived from a standpoint of I'm ready for football. I tried to keep it away. People kept trying to push it on my plate, Chris Ziegler, constantly over the last 2 months. But I'm finally here. I've arrived, and it's football season. We'll put baseball to bed shortly. You still have a few more days with the ice cream. But with these 7-on-7s, with the pigskin flying through the air, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. That's going to do it for the Power Hour today. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate you, as always, dropping into the text. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Anna Marie. Who else was in the text today? That's it. The Roths. I thank the Roths, as always. One of my favorite families of all time. They have adopted me, and I couldn't be more grateful to them for all they do for YSN. I know you guys are going to Texas. I hope to join you, and if I can't, I hope you have a great trip down there. It's been awesome. I really want one more time of covering Joe, just to say that I did everything I could. So hopefully that comes true. And again, congratulations to Pletch and the Astro Falcons. Can we just say that to Team Youngstown? They will represent us again and defend their championship of the world in just a few days in Laredo, Texas. That's going to do it for the Power Hour. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the network. Peace. YSN thanks you for watching.